For decades, Edward Burtynsky has been exploring and unearthing the intricacies of our planet's relationship with humanity. Hovering like an otherworldly entity above mines, forests, and more, he turns them into abstract vistas, seemingly untouched by human presence, yet imbued with the undeniable marks of our existence. Through his work, he reveals a dichotomy, highlighting our profound reliance on Earth's resources while simultaneously acknowledging the devastating toll our actions take on the very world that nurtures us. Whether investigating the landscapes of agriculture or peering down at the geometrical patterns of pivot irrigation, his work thrusts us into the Anthropocene, a geological era defined by humankind's profound influence on the planet's climate and ecosystems. Coming from the rural expanses of Canada, he carries an unbreakable, personal bond with nature. This connection transcends the ordinary and resonates deeply within the vast and complex realm of ecosystems. Burtynsky's photographs are included in the collections of over 80 major museums around the world, including the National Gallery of Canada in Ottawa, the Museum of Modern Art, the Metropolitan Museum of Art, and the Guggenheim Museum in New York, the Reina Sofia Museum in Madrid, the Tate Modern in London, and the Los Angeles County Museum of Art in California. Edward Burtynsky was born on February 22, 1955, in St. Catharines, Ontario, Canada. His father, Peter Burtynsky, was a Ukrainian immigrant who found work on the production line at the General Motors plant. When Burtynsky was 11 years old, his father purchased a darkroom and cameras from a widow whose late husband had practiced amateur photography. Along with learning photography, he learned black and white printing. This would prove to be useful in the development of his own business to support his newfound habit as he began photographing events and providing portraits at his local Ukrainian community center, charging 50 cents per photograph. With the money he made, he traveled throughout the countryside of St. Catharines photographing the pristine landscapes of his childhood. This is where he would later attribute his interest in pursuing landscape photography. From the mid-1970s to the early 1980s, Burtynsky formally studied graphic arts and photography. He obtained a diploma in graphic design from Niagara College in Welland, Ontario, beginning his studies in 1974. After receiving his college diploma, he had not initially considered pursuing higher education, but quickly changed his mind after touring the Ryerson campus at the request of a former photography teacher. He enrolled in and completed the 4-year undergraduate program, obtaining a bachelor's in photographic arts from Ryerson Polytechnical Institute in Toronto, Ontario, in 1982. Burtynsky's earliest works, now donated to Ryerson University's Image Center, were primarily taken in locations across Ontario and Western Canada. Influenced by American photographers such as Ansel Adams, Edward Weston, and Carlton Watkins, these works consist mostly of color landscapes. In 1985, he founded Toronto Image Works, a studio space that also served as a darkroom rental facility, custom photo laboratory, and training center for digital and new media. Some of Burtynsky's breakout works after graduation, such as Breaking Ground, Mines, Rail Cuts, and Homesteads in Vermont Quarries, show a transition toward the human impact themes that characterize his later work. Many of these reflect an account of the ecology of human interaction and the pillaging of landscapes, including the dialogue between the human, the machine, and the earth. Most of Burtynsky's exhibited photography was taken with a large format field camera, using large 4x5-inch sheet film, and developed in a high-resolution, large-dimension prints of various sizes and editions ranging from 18 by 22 inches to 60 by 80 inches. He often positions himself at high vantage points over the landscape using elevated platforms, natural topography, and, more recently, drones, helicopters, and fixed-wing aircraft. Burtynsky describes the act of taking a photograph in terms of the contemplated moment, evoking, and in contrast to the decisive moment of Henri Cartier-Bresson. He currently uses a high-resolution digital medium format camera. Burtynsky's photographic style is characterized by the sublime nature of the scale of his photographs. His large-format view camera depicts humanity's scarring on the landscapes he makes a subject, with astonishing color and relentless detail, always focusing on the consequences of global consumerism. In addition, Burtynsky has ventured into filmmaking, co-directing with Jennifer Bachwell Watermark, a feature-length documentary about the meaning and use of water. The film premiered at the Toronto International Film Festival in September 2013. For more than 30 years, Edward Burtynsky has used his camera as a tool to document, question, and make us reflect. His work focuses on a theme as simple as it is overwhelming: how humanity has transformed the earth in the name of progress. He has captured landscapes that no longer feel natural, yet aren't entirely artificial either. Open pit mines that look like open wounds, factories sprawling across land like metal cities, rivers turned into veins of waste, farmlands drawn with mathematical precision, all shown with a beauty that, when looked at closely, hurts. That's the power of Burtynsky, revealing the impact of our presence through visual beauty, not with anger or blame, but with a deep, steady gaze that demands us to pause, to look, to think. Though his photos rarely include people, humanity is present in every image, in the marks we leave behind, in the way we dig, build, extract, and expand, and how fast we do it. Yet his work isn't an accusation. He doesn't point fingers. In fact, he includes himself in the story. He drives a car, he uses energy, he lives in the same world, but he chose to tell this story so we could all finally see it. We often live as if nature were something distant, separate, something to use, but Burtynsky reminds us that we are not apart from nature. We are inside it. On his journeys, he's seen glaciers melting, lakes drying up, mountains being hollowed out. He's witnessed change, disappearance, extinction. And he captures all this with care, with detail, and with a way of seeing that turns the ordinary into something symbolic, photography that not only shows, but reveals. The impact of his work comes from that balance between beauty and truth. It draws us in with its visuals, but it stays with us because of what it says. It leaves us in awe of what humans are capable of creating and deeply uneasy about what we're destroying in the process. Most of us live in cities, far from the places where the things we use are extracted or produced. That's why Burtynsky shows us those other worlds. The mines, the fields, the dams, the waste sites, places that keep our lives running, yet remain invisible. And in seeing them, one question rises: are we still in time of change? The answer is yes. We already have the technology, the knowledge, the tools. What we need now is the will. That's where the story shifts. That's when we begin to believe there is something worth saving. Burtynsky doesn't shout. He doesn't force. He simply shows. But he does it with such quiet power, it stays with you. Because once you understand what you're seeing, you can't unsee it. And maybe that's where change begins.